Welcome back to the Meeple Marathon. Today I'm going to show you how I have chosen to fit everything back into the Deluxe after the Empire's box. So this is the larger box that is currently being delivered to Kickstarter backers, and I'm assuming is going to be available on Gray Fox's website, possibly retail. I don't know how far it's going to go, but I don't think it's a Kickstarter exclusive. It does come with these two GameTrayz here, which are castle shaped and castle themed. But other than that, it's if you order it, it's just going to be a big box with just these two trays inside, because you're going to need to pull out the insert from the first edition and use it underneath. And you can see though that these sit nice and flat, and there's plenty of room here for the rule book, and everything fits nice and flush, so things aren't going to bounce around. You could probably store this on its side, even though the cards, some of them are going to slide out. I mean, store it on its side so you can see the front of it. Anyways, the biggest thing I wanted to show off here, because what's underneath is pretty standard, is how I went about organizing my two GameTrayz here. So let's set this one off to the side, and actually let's start with this one. This one's much more straightforward here. Alright, so this is most of the components that you are going to need a lot of throughout the game. That you want to put this as in much of a central location. I did try and figure out how to get like half the components in this and half in here, and so that you could, if you were playing with 4 people, you could spread out the trays, but it didn't really work in my opinion. So this is all your new upgraded resources here. Your food just barely fits in this size one, which I think is roughly the same as these two. But it does fit. This is probably the most components, is these Burgundy Invader tokens, so they get the biggest well. And then these two guys are the next biggest. So I felt like those were the biggest, and these two are the smallest. I did go ahead, you can see one red token here. This is actually the Captain of the Guard miniature that is different than the rest of the soldier miniatures. See, he's holding a sword instead of an axe and a shield. Well, let's flip this guy over. You're only going to use him if his refugee card comes up and then you purchase him. So I stuck him in with the mercenaries so that I could easily find him, and you'd never find him again if you dropped him into there. So, but this one's pretty straightforward. Here you can see the lid goes back on. These are GameTrayz. So I'm picking this up by the lid. I wouldn't recommend it, but the lid's on there nice and tight. And then this one here has got a couple components that you're going to need to pull out throughout the game. For example, your wound tokens here, your shield tokens for your farms, and your spyglass move tokens. This stuff over here you're probably going to pull out during setup. So the flags that you set up during setup. Here's all your like siege tokens and your catapult, your the new upgraded seasons marker, the gray workers, that you just usually have on the side of the board. Also, this nice big well here. At first I had the flame tokens in one of these smaller ones, but then I realized, oh, as I'm doing this here, you can see a couple of them actually are in there. As you start to put these in the standees, whoops, I picked up the wrong thing. There's enough room for them, and they don't all fit. Not all the standees are great, but there's extra room in here that I can actually leave some on their standees. What I have right here are the 4 farm tokens for each of the 4 different player colors, and then tucked on the side is the plus 100, plus 50 gold pieces. If I did it like this and they kind of gave them a little tilt, it does let the lid go on flat, which is super nice. Almost didn't get these in here. And then all of your player pieces are right in here in the biggest one. But that's that. Everything works. I played a game with these out, and it's okay. The resource cubes are a little tricky to pull out once you've gotten through that top layer that are easy to grab and they've all settled in. So maybe like stick a finger in there before the game and give them all a good shake. Like this would be easier to pull out than these, and this small group is really easy to pull out. And then the rest of this is pretty self-explanatory. With the first edition insert, there was space for where you're going to put your player boards, and then you're going to put this board underneath, and you can see that it's all blocked off. And then basically what you have underneath here is I put all of my turrets in here and all of my others in here. And they're just loose in there because there's actually a pretty decent amount of room in both of these wells now, since you don't have to put anything else in it. And then all the cards over here. And you can see if you're a sleever, there is room to sleeve your cards. Now this right here, this chunk of cards, is the new solo mode. So some of you may not bother with this. You may not want it, or you don't have it. If you don't have the solo mode, plenty of room to sleeve your cards. Without the solo mode, or with the solo mode, maybe not. Over here, you could definitely sleeve your invader and mini cards. Those got plenty of room. But there you have it. That's going to do it for my, again, reboxing. It's not my storage solution. They provided it for me. But how I chose to rebox my copy, my deluxe copy now of After the Empire. If you have any questions, please feel free to let me know in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing to the channel. Once again, thanks for watching. Have a great day.